But John, what do you think about mistypes, man? Like, what do you think is the biggest problem in the MBTI mistypes?
Mistyping. Yeah, so you and I talked about this a little bit, and I think we're in agreement that the child function is probably a top two or three reason why
Mhm.
people mistype. Would you agree that it's top
Yeah,
two or
yeah.
three, maybe
I
maybe number one?
think yeah, yeah. I think it's probably number one.
Yeah,
Because I mean, someone could say gender, but then when you get on gender, and then you start thinking about the child function, it creates so many like
yeah,
different things because let's take hypothetical situation here. We take INTJs, right? INTJ
mhm.
males tend to suppress their FI child, right? INTJ women tend to be bring it
Right.
out more,
Express. Yeah.
express it a lot more.
Yes.
So if INTJ woman takes a test or whatnot, she's gonna get INFJ or she's gonna get ISFP or INFP,
Right.
something like
Right.
that.
Right.
And that's not who she is because she leads with vision,
Right.
right?
And well,
Um,
and even with her mistype, she might relate to that more because
yeah,
of the presence of the feeling. So yeah, it's really tricky. I just off the top of my head, it feels like the child, gender, and then cognitive development, meaning which functions our nurture pushes us towards. Those feel like three of the top four or five reasons
yeah,
why we mistype. And mistyping, as you know, is probably the single biggest one of the biggest issues for the credibility in in the typology community because there's probably a lot of people out there who are still mistyped even though they study this stuff
yeah.
as a main hobby or for work. So
So yeah, I think just in general, like the system in itself is very fluid, right?
yes,
Not many
that's right.
systems that people can apply that to get consistent results. And a lot of times, I kind of get frustrated with people because they don't like understand how this science works. This is not like a plus B equals C type thing, or like you do enough of this and like you're gonna get a qualitative or quantitative result. Like it doesn't
Right.
work like that. It's all like my thoughts on me trying to be as objective as I possibly can to
Mhm.
analyze you as a human. That's what's really going on. But
Right.
I'm still human and I still have my perspective of what I see. And I'm also limited by stuff that I haven't seen. So like
Right.
let's say when I first started this channel, I may have mistyped a lot of people because of the fact is that I wasn't exposed to a lot. But when you've been doing it 2, 3 years, it's like you've seen a lot more. You've seen a lot more different cases, different variances, and you're like, okay, boom, and I know that. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like for me, it's like my eyes, like over time, my eyes arrive. My eyes
Yes.
arrive. So
Right.
once my eyes arrive,
They
it's
adjust.
nothing that I
Yeah.
miss. Like when it comes to that. But it takes a person willing to keep doing that, and I don't think a lot of people are willing to do that.
Right.
And then
But
also
and
having the right information.
they're also afraid to make mistakes, also afraid to look stupid. I've done a couple typing videos where I talk about typing vectors, and what I encourage people is, start with the more formulaic stuff. Like start if you need to start with more of an equation, start there. Just know that that's not going to be the end. Like you have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to be willing to simplify because only through that process can your eyes adjust, like what you're
Yeah.
talking about. So I think people have been so talked badly to for mistyping that they're afraid to make mistakes. And I think like anything else, you really have to, start with the extremes, color those in darkly. Don't be afraid to make some mistakes because once you embrace that you will make some mistakes, you will learn so much faster.
Yeah.
And within a couple of years, it sounds like your skill and type,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I would, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it takes a while, and it's what I always stress with other people. It's like there are going to be metrics that just stick out and you can't miss them.
Metrics, you said that stick out.
Metrics.
Yes,
Like when you're
right.
typing people, like,
Agree.
direct initiating,
Hmm.
control, like that type of thing.
Right,
There are going to be metrics that stick out that you can't miss it, right?
right.
Take those metrics and eliminate down. Don't try to like force things. And that's what I think led to a lot of
Yeah,
mistypings when I first started. It was like you're trying to grab too much stuff at one time. And just
right,
like, grab one, take
right.
one, eliminate. Right now you're down 8. Take another metric, eliminate. Now
Right.
you're down some more, and now
Right.
eliminate. Right, and now you're maybe down to 2 types. Right, and now you can like use your whole brain to like figure out exactly which type you think that person is.
Right.
Based on the different metrics, like not metrics, but like the 8 function model. You can use so many different things when you're down to 2 types. Like if you're down to INFJ and INTJ, and you're like, okay, I'm able to say I don't even have to use like Linda Berens metrics. It's like, okay, this guy seems to have more FE, or like he
Right.
seems to care more about people, or he seems to be
Mhm.
more compassionate with people. So by conclusion, this guy's an INFJ, not an INTJ, So it's like that's the approach that I tell everyone. It's always just to take what you got. Like take what you got. Don't like if you're having trouble and you're like, oh, well, I don't know if he's informative. Like let go of informative. If you can't tell if he's informative or direct, let it go. Go to something else. Is
Like
abstract out there?
you have to try it on, and then if the cloak fits, then it fits. If it doesn't, then try something else on. Yeah. Well, I was gonna you reminded me of something I was gonna say. Oh yeah, it only takes it's crazy. It's like it only takes 2 vectors before you narrow it down to 4 types. That you can
Mhm.
within just a couple things, 75% of the types are gone, and you only have four left. It's pretty amazing if you can master even not even master, just get good at recognizing a couple of these vectors. I mean, it can make your work so much easier. I wanted to ask you, maybe we could explore a little bit, like ranking or discussing how should people go about learning how to type others? Is it just the interaction style? Is it just the functions? Is it both? Is it using a test? Is it other things? What do you think are like where should someone start and then where should they end up after 6 months or a couple of years?
All right. So what I would say is if the person knows absolutely nothing about type, if you take that soccer Nova test, I think
Mhm.
it's a pretty good test. You will find most likely your type. With a high, I think with a high degree chance of doing that.
Yeah.
If you take that test, you have no idea. So like let's say you want to figure out your friend's personality type, you can make them take that test. I personally think that's the best test I've seen out there. Um, it does pretty well. So if they have no experience at all, don't know how to type, don't know anything about type, I think that's a good one to start. Because like you can kind of, if you know about the test, you can kind of tailor it to get the results you want. So that's the
Right.
bad thing
If you
about
know
if you
too
know
much, it
too
can.
much.
Yeah.
If you have zero experience or you're trying to get a friend or a family member, I highly recommend them like having them take that test. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
You had mentioned that to me at the Q&A, and I looked into it, and I think it's a pay test, but I did take
No, it's a
it.
free one. It's a free one. It's
Okay,
free.
that must have been on the wrong site, but the
Yeah.
questions were pretty good, and I don't know what it tested me as because I had to pay for it, but
Oh, you went to the wrong one, John.
there must be a free
I'll
one.
send it to you,
But
man.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. So
But
it's
if
funny,
someone,
almost knowing nothing. If you know less, it actually helps you more with the test because you can't unsee what they're asking you once you know what they're asking
yeah, yeah.
when what they're trying to measure. So okay, so for a beginner, I would agree with that. Taking a test, and I made
Not
that little.
16 personality. I don't like 16 personality because they flavor it with feelings and stuff like that. And that Soccer Nova one kind of it has different formulas for getting your type. Like it has the grant, has this, and kind of uses cognitive functions as well.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I like that one a lot
I
better.
don't. So I don't mind the 16 type one. However, I do agree with you that it biases towards the feeling because it's like are you choosing between being mean and smart or nice? And that's sort
Mhm.
of how the questions come across. Um, but yeah, I think a test. I agree that's a good place to start. I would also say, if you're new, don't hold on to the result too tightly. I did a series. I'm doing a series on how to take a test and use some filters. I think you watched a couple of those.
Mhm.
And if someone takes a test and they hold on to that result like gospel truth, that can be pretty hard for that to be peeled from their fingers when they
Mhm.
realize they were mistyped.
Yeah.
So you have the test. What do you think people should do after that? They're
Um,
new. They've taken the test. They kind of know the types a little bit.
so
What's
if you're
next?
new, you start with the test, and from there. I would say you need to figure out the best content creator there is when it comes to
An
um,
educator then.
educating
Mhm.
education wise, because they're gonna save you so much going back and forth. They're gonna save
Right.
you the headache. They're gonna do most of your heavy lifting, really. And I'm a big proponent in doing something one time, like because if you do it right the first time, you don't have to move back and forth. You don't have to
Right.
change. You don't do all that.
Very
So
outcome of you.
you really.
Meanwhile, I'm like 100 attempts and but
Mhm.
yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because you save yourself a lot of time. And you're basically like stealing their expertise. So it's just gonna
Yes.
help you arrive faster.
Right.
Um, so
Especially
I
if
would,
they're educated and well read, they can
yeah.
deliver the important parts of 10 books to you within a couple hours of lecturing.
So
So,
I think you're going to have to do that. And I see the same system applies to everything. I've noticed this. The first thing is just learning your type, right? And
yes.
learning like how it works for your type. Learn the 8 functions for your own type, right? And then once you can go back and forth, you can realize, okay, this is a critic spot, this is a trickster spot, this is a demon spot, this is a
Yes.
opposing spot. This is you learn that 8 for yourself and become very comfortable with the one that you were given or whatnot. And then you want to try to look at other types, right? And I think
Right.
that's what happens bad in the community is they only look at themselves, right? You'll never get mastery just by finding your own stuff. You also
Right.
got to look at the other people's stuff as well. And then once you get that, it's kind of like it's slowly burning into your brain. Um,
Right.
like how all of this stuff works, right? And you will never get to that point by just looking at your stuff or stuff that you want to look at. Like you gotta do the crappy part of looking up the ISFJs, right? We all know
Right.
like both of our audiences are intuitively based, so
Right.
turn up their nose when it comes to the SJs, but that's something you have to study. You have to understand that. You have to understand the mechanisms between those functions and how and like okay, what manifests from this way and how does it
Yeah.
manifest coming from that way,
Right.
and you can't pick and choose that. You got to do it all. It's like a video game. Like if you were playing a fighting game, right? You learn
Mhm.
your character, right? You
Right.
get online, you're gonna do pretty well, right? But then you're gonna hit a wall, right? And the wall is you got to go back and learn multiple characters
Other people's
because then
characters.
you can learn all of the mix-ups and all of that. And then when you get back online, like you're unstoppable at this point, right? You've reached mastery. And I think the same thing applies to type in itself.
It's interesting that I've reached the same conclusion as far as it. You have to start with your own type, and it's interesting for that because both the systematic type and outcome type you and the progression, uh, affiliative type me, feel the same way that we need to start with our own type. We need to start with ourselves, and also that our ability to be aware of other people, to be aware well of them, comes from our own self to some extent. So, yeah, absolutely exploring yourself, I think is number one. Now, a more I have talked to like some ENTPs and INTPs who it feels like they almost need to systematize it in an objective sense before they can allow themselves to explore it in themselves because they don't have a lot of that such low FI. I think makes it hard for them to do it in that order potentially. But I agree in principle that you have to dig into yourself and see how this plays out, and then through that process alone, you will start to unconsciously see some of this in other people, and then you move more conscious awareness outward, and you start to see, wow, that that person is that way because of that. And then you can have a lot of questions like, how on earth are those two people the same type, even though they're like they seem like worlds apart, right?
Mhm.
And that those should be the opportunities you relish for exploration and learning. Because whenever you have a question like that, like how in the world are those people different or the same, that is your opportunity to develop some nuanced insight, um, that you get to keep. Because as soon as you understand that nuance or that distinction, that is your insight that you've gained through your work. That's going to stick with you, and you're going to become way better at typing for it. So, um, so you want people to explore themselves first. Do you find that? I guess I'll just share this. I think that typing vectors are essential and very important. However, when I type people, I use them as a secondary. Like I use them to confirm things. I type very perceptually based, and then I use the vectors to verify or verify that. It sounds like you lead more
Hmm.
with the vectors, and
Yeah.
then put your perception on the back burner, which
Hmm.
I think makes sense based on our hero functions and things like
Yeah,
that.
and notice that with INFJs, they tend to like kind of personalize every experience. It's kind of
Right.
crazy, and I'm just like, no, 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 follow the system, bro. Like,
Yeah.
follow this. I've interacted with another INFJ typer, um, and like he seems to be very like personable. Like every exchange has to be different. Where I'm just like, bro, like you gotta make mistakes by doing that.
Right.
Um, but I think when I'm typing somebody, it's kind of like I'm going in like a Zen mode, right? And I'm
Okay.
letting the strongest thing that hits me come first, right? I'm just like in Zen, and I'm just like if I was like a monk or something, and I'm
Yes.
just letting it come to me, and I'm not forcing it. I'm not just like I gotta shove this person in a box. It's like you're in Zen. What's the first thing that you feel, right? Or the first thing that you see, or first thing that comes out. Okay, you got that. Now eliminate down from there. There's gonna be cognitive functions that pop out. Okay, take those cognitive functions and eliminate down,
Yes.
and don't try to force things. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to that.
I know exactly what you mean because there's different modes. Like either we're present and we're willing to embrace the ambiguousness of this person, or we're afraid of the unknown and trying to fit things on them. And if you can be present, if you can let go of that need to control your understanding, then the clarity will start to come. So it's interesting. You have a system, but you also have an intuitive approach where you
Yeah.
give space for whatever happens to
It's like the
be
energy. It's like I
right.
would say like
Exactly.
some of those vectors have more energy in a person and they're more expressed. And some vectors aren't
Yes.
as expressed, right? And you're just letting the energy flow to you and you're just like capturing it. And then like afterwards you have the person's type. And it's a beautiful
Have
thing.
there have there been things that you noticed